What up, mother truckers? Who wins, Tonka? Neil Farrell? Sure, why not? I mean, someone's going to win. There's only 8 folks remaining. Hopefully we can get some table sound immediately. Hopefully we just don't turn it off all day today because I don't want to miss it for the breaks, you know? Hello, my friends. Didn't they do day 2 yesterday? Yes, sir, man. It's a 3-day tournament.
Good morning, world. 888 Live. Final table, huh?
The old Michael Feinley.
Yeah, guys, so the orange chips are 5K. Somewhat worthless at this point of the tournament. Pink chips are 25K. Significantly more worthwhile. And the white chips, the ones you really want to be looking for, those are 100Ks. You know, I got to tell you, I told you guys the Patriots are going to win the game. I never had a doubt in my mind. I would have quadrupled up my bets. My God. I mean, whether you're a football fan or not, what a game. Holy shit.
Yeah, what up, expected value?
I love sports. Tonka and Tuchman here for the 888 Live in Rozvadov. We are still in the Czech Republic for just another 24 hours, guys. So not even 24 hours. I'll be on a plane 24 hours from now. So blinds are still 15:30? I guess we have like 6 minutes left?
I think 11 minutes is when we ended. 11 minutes left in 15:30.
So they're going to jump up pretty high, though. So if they go 15:30, we go right to 20:40.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, I mean, we have 16 million chips in play. So, you know, average stack is
400 blinds in play.
Right. Average stack over 50 blinds. Final table action. This will be interesting because, you know, our 8th place finisher takes home like 8,000 euros. And first place is 80,000. Second place is 50. Yeah. So I mean, survival is pretty huge if you can ladder up in this one. By the way, we have heard from you guys. We know some of you like table talk, and I promise you, as always is the case, if there's table talk, if they are chatting, we'll turn it up and we'll lay out and let you guys listen. Mm-hmm. I do like the atmosphere of just hearing the background and the chips and stuff, which is cool. But as is the case with these final tables, a lot of times...
I mean, people just aren't really going to be talking.
Yeah.
Especially 8-handed.
Yeah, and you just don't get these, like, you know... Sometimes you get a random, like, you know... I mean, if we were in the States right now, there'd probably be a little bit of Super Bowl talk.
Yeah,
that would be boring.
Yeah.
But you also have, like... You have 8 guys here that speak different languages, that, you know, different countries...
Wait, I thought everybody that was in the Czech Republic had to learn to speak Czech.
I don't think that's the case.
Is that not the case?
I don't think so. Do you know Czech?
I mean, I spent literally like 3 months taking lessons.
You Duolingo?
Speak Czech. No, I got like a tutor and everything.
Wow, that's impressive.
I thought you had to be able to speak Czech if you would come into the Czech Republic.
No, I think it's impressive that you did that just for this, but no.
Haha.
Will you learn Spanish for Barcelona? Or, as I like to call it, Barca?
Oh, yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish, of course, as well.
How many languages? Like 6 now?
18.
18. It's impressive.
I wish I even spoke 1 extra language. Then I'd be not so stupid.
Yeah, Barcelona's a great town. If you've never been there and you're looking for an excuse to come to Europe or just come to Barcelona and hang out, 888 Festival in May is going to be pretty awesome. Plus, I kind of like this price point for a lot of people. I know for some people out there, you know, they really want to play bigger events.
It's a bit small, yeah.
But the nice thing about an event like this is, like you see here, first place, 80,000 euros. You know, that's some decent money. And, you know, it's at a price point where you can enter like 3 times.
Yeah.
Very comfortably.
I wonder if we're going to see a 3-bet from Neil on the button here, or if we're just going to see a flop. I think the way he plays, it's more likely to see a 3-bet, but it looks like he's cutting out a call. Yeah, I mean, I would personally prefer a call, I think. Oh, and this is going to be an all-in wager, or should be an all-in wager at least. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I mean, he is our online qualifier, so I'm not completely surprised to see him playing on the tighter side for sure. I mean, you don't want to bust 8. We're only like, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 hands in. Maybe he doesn't really know how aggressive both the players are, but against these 2 aggressive players, that's just going to be a really good, easy shove.
It's an interesting flop here. We got a gutter with backdoor clubs and obviously trip 9s there for Catalan.
I don't mind a check from Catalan. I don't mind a continuation bet as well, just because I think when Neil flats the button, there are very, very, very few hands that he's just going to give up on the flop with. He has to have, like, king jack of diamonds in order to give up here, you know? Like he's floating you with any ace high. He's floating you with any like backdoor flush and straight possibility. Like any like 10 jack of hearts, spades, or clubs. You know, even like queen 10. You know, any suited connector like this, any pair. There's just like the vast majority of his range he's going to be floating you with here. So I don't mind a continuation bet and then maybe a check on the turn, or depending what the turn is, if it picks up a lot of draws, you can barrel.
The funny thing is, like, I always get I feel like this is a nice little leveling war spot. Like, if Catalan were to fire a second bullet and I was in Neil's spot, it would really make me scratch my head. Like, isn't he a little bit concerned about the 9? Like, wouldn't he slow down a little bit right now when I float him?
Yeah, and also, like, Catalan is going to know that Neil is going to float him, like, with basically everything. So he's probably going to want to try to get a lot of those hands to fold. But I think this is a really, really, really good card for Neil's range. Like I was just talking about how he floats like all of those broadways, you know, Jack 10, King Queen, Ace Queen, Queen 10, even like Queen 8 suited. You know, like he just floats all of those hands. So this is like a really, really, really good turn.
Are you playing this as a check call turn and then check raise river?
Yeah. I would check call and check call again as well. I mean, he
well,
just
even check call, you're check raising.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I would check in
both turn and river.
Right.
Gotcha.
But yeah, definitely want to be checking over to him on the turn here, as well as like everything we talked about, how he floats a lot of hands. He's not going to call 2-barrel with them. It's really, really, really difficult for Neil to have something on this board when you cover the whole board. I mean, not only do you have a 9, you cover the 9, but you also cover the top pair now as well. So he's just going to have a bluff so often here.
And by the way, when Neil bets this, it's almost always a bluff, because if Neil had a hand like...
Well, he can have like kings and aces. He can have...
He's not 3-betting on the button with kings or aces?
I mean, yeah, he probably would be in the player that he is, but I think that it's really reasonable to call, and you have to call those kind of hands sometimes, because you can't always call preflop with 7-6 here and only have 7-6. You have to call
I understand that. I just feel like, you know Neil infinitely more than I do.
I think he would have 3-bet because of the aggressive nature of his play, and that he wants to balance in that sense. I
guess my point is, though, when Neil bets the turn, I feel like he has more bluffs, because I feel like a lot of the cards that I feel like a lot of the hands that he has where he has showdown value, he's checking back.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to pull the trigger. I'm pretty curious to see, to be honest, and if he does, how much he bets. I think if he does pull the trigger, he bets around 550. And I really, really, really think that Catalan just played this hand perfectly. I mean, no matter what you think your opponent has, if you think he has a value hand or if you think he has a bluff, I just think this is like by far the best way to extract the most value.
Pot is 1.1 million. Somebody mentioned, speak for yourself, I assume, when I said that, it's a good price point where you can buy in more than once. The nice thing is when the buy-ins are 1,000 euros or less.
For the main. Well, the nice thing is when the buy-ins are 880 euros for the main, that means that the side events are like 100 to 300.
Right.
They're running like a bunch of like, swordfish type events. They got a lot of online names that they have online. It's cool. But they were running like the whale yesterday. And it got a huge turn as well, like 270 people or something like that.
And as you can see, all the guys that are wearing 888 sweatshirts here, 750,000.
Yeah, 5. Did he say the ask for a count? Wow, this is a huge bluff by Neil. Oh, and he just snap shoves and Neil snap folds.
Yeah, obviously. Snap shove,
and
snap fold.
We see a little smirk from Neil, and he's like, "Oh, this
Oops.
is typical me." What did he say?
Let's hear him.
I have a boat and he's just putting so many chips in the pot.
What'd he say?
He's like, I think he said like it must be nice, or like what's going through his head. He's like, I have a boat and he's putting so many chips in the pot, it must be great or something. Neil is like, Neil is like infamous for doing this kind of thing. He's just such an aggressive player. He in the EPT that he won, he raised, he got 3-bet, an aggressive player cold 4-bet, and for about 55, 60 big blinds, he was looking down at 10-8 suited, and he 5-bet piled it in.
Got there.
Got called by queens, and made a straight or trips on the end, and was just like an overwhelming chip leader after that, and didn't really look back after the tournament. But I mean, he's blasted in situations like that before, and as he gets called after he 5-bet blasts, he's just giggling, opening his hand, and he's just like, I promised myself I wouldn't do this on another TV table. But
I remember that. Actually, pretty funny. That was actually really funny.
playing it. Ludo picking up pocket sevens here. I don't know why Baron is tanking with the Jack 5 off here.
I think this is the third hand in a row Ludo has raised, right? He raised with 10-3, won the hand, King, Queen.
Sevens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going for the trifecta here. Oh, wow. We could have an all-in here, and we are going to have an all-in here. I'm almost certain of it. I don't really see how Pavel can do anything other than just 3-bet shove and just be, like, unbelievably happy about it. And he's just going to get snap called probably by Ludo, and he's going to be really sad. This is so unlucky for Pavel. There's a snap call.
I mean, think about the three hands that Ludo has just raised with 10-3 offsuit, King, Queen, and sevens. Only one of those hands are you in bad shape against.
Yeah, you're in good shape against the other two. And one of them you're just going to be printing chips first because he's never going to raise call you with 10-3 off.
Right.
I prefer when you called him Caitlin. We never called him Caitlin, dude. We called him Catalin.
I've called him everything.
So, he needs a 6 to survive here, or he will be hitting the rail.
Yeah, literally nothing there for him. This pot's 1.3 million. This will get Ludo up to about 4.5, 4.6 if his sevens hold up.
I'm getting the payouts up to see what's going on here. So 9th place is guaranteed 7,785. That is what Pavel will be taking home here.
No,
he
8th.
does not. 8th place. Oh shoot, sorry. And he does not hit a 6. So Pavel will be our first elimination, cashing for 9,619 euros. All players guaranteed now 13,247 euros.
Actually, I'm gonna change my tune for a second. Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
I didn't realize what the pay jumps were because they're pretty significant. Okay, so 8th place, guys, is 9,619 euros. 7th place is 13,000. Okay, so nearly 4,000 we're talking about. But the difference between 7th and 6th is another 4,400. Okay, 6th and 5th is 5,000.
Right.
For the gentleman we're looking at right now with the green shirt and the jacket, who's an online qualifier, he just by folding the ace-jack, and who knows what would have happened, obviously. We know that if he shoved ace-jack, it would have gotten through. But by not taking that risk, he just made himself an extra 4,000. Now, I know in the long run that is a losing play, and I know he should be shoving. I know he's making money there. But for an online qualifier, I have no idea. I don't know what his financial situation is.
Yeah, you don't know what his circumstances are, of course.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
The dude just, it's almost like, you got invited to a really cool party,
the thing
and now
about
you can
that
stick around and stay.
The thing about that is, though, is that logic. That logic makes sense, like, kind of, but not even really, because you have to also factor in the amount of times where he shoves there, takes it down, and now he can go back to folding and last even longer.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
And ladder up even more in that way. So, like, these things are kind of like working against each other all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing that it's clearly a profitable shove. I mean, he should be shoving there. I'm just saying, though, from the
Look, now he's going on with 15 big blinds in UTG2.
I'm just suggesting that, for somebody who wants to stay at the party for another hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
And win a little bit more money, that's great.
Say hello to Elkie here. What are you doing here? What's going on, buddy?
Awesome to be first time here.
Yeah, first time here.
Not the last one.
Hang on a
Not
second.
the last time for sure.
I'm going to pop in the video.
Thanks, man.
Elkie, come in here, man. There he is.
How's it going? How's the final table?
Great.
We just started. Yeah, we're only 14 hands in. We already have one elimination. 80,000 euros for first in 888 buy-in. It's pretty exciting stuff, man. Yeah.
For a lot of people who don't play, big and who finally do make a deep run in the tournament, they get into this dilemma where they hold on to their tournament life almost too tight.
Well, yeah, it ends up costing them generally in the long run, right? Wow. So Juan Carlo raises the kings here, and he doesn't get a 3-bet from...
He doesn't get a call.
Well, not yet, but he's going to get a call from the Queen 7.
No, of course.
He didn't get a 3-bet from Catalan, and Catalan, I feel like, wanted to. I don't really think it's necessary to be doing things like 3-bet and ace-9 there. You just want to play some good pokes.
Well, this is gonna cost Ludo.
Yeah, I mean, Juan Carlos could potentially win a big pot here, unless, of course, a 7 of clubs just rolls off on the turn.
Bink.
So we're going to see a continuation bet almost certainly for probably somewhere between, 90 and 120,000.
The 7 of clubs would really be an action card because you got like the two flush draws out there.
And 7 there's not a heart would be the action Jackson. I don't know if Ludo would check shove or just call. 80K, so it's a smaller bet. I mean, it's a pretty uncoordinated board, so it seems reasonable.
Ludo on 4.6 million. Juan Carlo on 1.3 million. There's the call. Pot's 385.
I mean, on almost every turn, we'll probably see a check call as well. Like I said, maybe on a 7 we might see a check raise sometimes, but
That might slow things down.
yeah, I mean we'll probably still see a bet and a call, unless Juan Carlo decides to pot control with his kings here with no heart. 20 to call is probably incorrect.
What do you generally do in this spot? I was going to say, when the third heart comes out, do you check it back, pot control, or do you bet because you don't have a heart, you want to protect your equity in the pot? What's your thought?
I mean, I really want to bet, but I really don't want to get check raised.
Right.
I might check back the flop here sometimes. And bet the turn in the river. I'd probably still bet the turn here, though. But, I mean, if you just get check raised, it's just so brutal. But you also get called by a lot of, like, ace-high floats, king-high floats that pick up a heart draw on the turn. So I think barreling is definitely better. And it's 210,000, about half pot. Ludo's going to call this. And then I think you can check back a lot of rivers as Juan with the kings here. I don't really think you need to be going for thin value with kings on a tough board where like your opponent can have a better hand, where he can check raise shove on you as a bluff, when there's a lot of ICM involved, when there's two people that are pretty short stacked. So yeah, I like the bet on the turn here, and unless it's like an offsuit king on the river, I'm going to assume that it's probably a pretty good river spot just to check it back.
I was going to ask you, what about an offsuit deuce?
Yeah, it's like as good as it comes, right?
Right.
But
besides a king.
So he's got $1 million behind. So what's he betting here? He's betting like 340,000 or something, right?
Yeah, I would. I mean, even 275.
Yeah, I mean, and then you just open yourself up to getting absolutely put in the corner and check shoved on. And then how do you ever call? Like especially against arguably the most aggressive player on the table.
But how many times is Ludo check raising the river without a flush at least?
Very not often.
So.
Exactly, but like he's doing it enough. Well, I mean, he's probably just calling a lot of flushes.
That's what I mean. I mean, on a paired board
exactly,
with the flush out
he's
there.
Gonna have like more bluffs. Yeah, I hate this.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's just like, I mean, I like the bigger bet better than like 275. I think 275 is a pretty bad bet. I think if you're going to bet here, you need to bet like somewhere between 400 and 500,000. You need to make it a more polarizing size, make it more bluff heavy, make it more like missed hearts. And this is also like way less enticing for Ludo to shove on. If you bet 275 here, it screams I have weak value that I want to get called with, and it's like, and my weak value will fold to your river shove. So please be my guest and shove on me. Yeah, I think 275 is a truly horrific bet on the river here. But 480 seems better, but I think I would just prefer a nitty approach and just be very scared of ICM and just check it back.
Are you betting
I don't really think you're getting called by a queen that often. I think Ludo's going to find the fold, to be honest.
Let me ask you, are you betting this? Are you more likely to bet this on day 1 and day 2 of the tournament and less so at the final table or ICMs or consideration?
Absolutely, yeah. Day 2 here, I'm going to barrel way more of the time than I am in this exact situation.
That's good stuff. At this point, Ludo can only beat a bluff.
But yeah, I do like the sizing better than a smaller bet against the player. Now, if we're playing against Bernd in this situation and he's got a humongous stack, I think, yeah, like if you're getting a queen to fold here, like how can this bet be good? Like that's like the hand you want to get called by.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, you get the queen to fold this time, but maybe the queen doesn't fold every time. Maybe he gets the queen to call.
Sure, but when you're risking half your stack on the river and you're only sometimes getting called by exactly what you're trying to get called by, the bet is just very bad.
I mean, my question for you is how often does Ludo have you beat?
I mean, not an unreasonable amount of the time.
Yeah.
He probably plays a flush the same way. He probably plays a boat the same way. I mean, maybe he check raises the flop sometimes with, sixes or deuces. He doesn't have queens. He would have 3-bet pre-flop. Queen 9, you now counterfeit. I mean, it's not that often, but it's just like, if you're not getting called by exactly the hand you're trying to get called by, what's the point of your bet? There's no better hand that he can get called by other than like ace-queen.
Right. Obviously, at the end on the river there, I mean, there's the 2 points of betting. We're either getting a better hand fold or we're getting value from more. So if we can't get value from exactly a queen, why are we betting? Makes sense.
And yeah, I mean, if your intention by betting 275 is to induce, then I like it a little bit more. I just think that like 275 is just way too exploitable.
I mean, unless you know your opponent and you possibly could induce and you're calling off.
Then we're bet calling with one pair on like a 3-flush board, like against. It's really gross when there's like 2 short stacks and there's 7 people left.
Right. Obviously, going back to the ICM and final table considerations. All these players guaranteed 13,247 euros. That's a nice little payday for an 888 euro tournament. We had 530 odd entries here.
So I believe this is into Neil's big blind. So I mean, he's got to realize that if he's racing here, Neil might go all in for 11 big blinds. And are you going to be calling that? What is the free roll turning ID? If you open up 8-8 poker, you can find in the lobby.
Would you
very
ever just
easily.
fold the Jack 10 suited?
No, I would just make it bigger and then call it off if you were to shove. I would just make it like 110,000
and call off.
3x it, yeah.
Okay.
Charge him harder as well for peeling out of the big blind. Catalan looks like he's gonna get his 3-bet on, which is fine. Wouldn't mind a call either. Either or seems pretty good to me. Also, you can just fold. You can just play a little bit tighter.
Right.
It don't matter.
Catalan 3-bets here at the Queen 9.
Ludo considering it. Like, almost as bad of a hand as Ace Deuce.
He lets it go.
Now, Neil has to have, like, pocket 8s, Ace Jack.
Oh! Well, he's got the ace.
Maybe Ace Jack suited. I imagine you go with Ace Jack off just because these two players are so aggressive.
Well, he knows he has no fold equity whatsoever.
If he actually has a decision, he probably has Ace Jack off or Ace 10 suited. And he's just like, how aggressive are these players? What it do? I don't really think he wastes as much time, honestly, with like Ace Queen or Ace King. He might with like.
No, and he's probably not wasting that much time with Ace 7 either.
Yeah, exactly. So I would assume he just has Ace 10 suited or Ace Jack off suit.
I think that's a good read. I like that.
And I honestly am not sure if he should get those in. Obviously, we can see the hands, and we're like, do it, Neil, go with it.
Did Matan just come in here, fart, and leave?
Yeah, he might have.
My God.
What a rude man.
He literally came in here, farted, smiled at us, and left.
What a rude man. He is
just
all
moved
in.
all in.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Ace Jack.
Me too.
Obviously, Catalan, by the way, Catalan's my new favorite player. He didn't waste any time. He knew he was going to call, obviously. What a read.
Said Ace Jack, yeah?
Ace Jack off. I think Ace Jack suited is
pretty
probably quicker.
unfortunate that he gets in versus Catalan's hand. If you just reverse the hands, he's dominating the Jack 10. He's not dominating Queen 9. Great flop for him, though.
Yep, nothing there whatsoever for Catalan.
Absolutely nothing.
Still nothing.
6 outs.
Can Neil survive it? $1 million in the pot. He does.
He's alive.
Neil is alive and well, back up to $1 million now, or 25 bigs.
$1 million chippers. I mean, Burned is obviously going to be on the chopping block. Wow, and so he just decides to go with it.
He's going with it.
So this is just
it's
like
always weird
when players play very tight and then do this kind of thing. Yeah. I'm always confused as well. It's just like they just get like annoyed and eventually say like enough is enough, right? He's
like the guy yesterday.
Oh wow, Neil's got ace 10 suited and he's like, this is brutal.
Well, he thinks he's in bad shape. He has no idea that he's in great shape.
Yeah. This is hilarious. I mean, he's still got a call. They're 7-handed. It's 9 big blinds.
No!
Oh! Oh my God, he's gonna be so upset to see that later. I mean, it's fair enough though, dude. I mean, if you did check out the stream before, if he had a friend saying he knows you didn't shove ace jack before, and this guy's literally been folding every single hand. He peeled ace jack in the big blind twice, instead of shoving it in 2 reasonable spots to shove it. But yeah, there's
I think Luda's probably gonna 3-bet this, don't you?
at least flat it. I mean, I think a 3-bet is probably better because of the blind stacks, right? Because you can't really like flat and then call it off versus Neil or Baron, but and it applies a lot of pressure and sort of says that you have a stronger hand because you have to 3-bet call the big blind. What's he thinking about now?
He also puts pressure on. I think he puts a lot of pressure on Lucas, who has a medium stack now.
Exactly.
And he's got the big stack, so because of ICM, he can just put a ton of pressure on. I think he can put a ton of pressure on Lucas. Lucas is a late position raise. It's a cutoff raise.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I love Ludo's game, but I really prefer a 3-bet there.
I would prefer a 3-bet as well. But he does find the best hand on the flop. Can't really know that with bottom pair. But he does have a backdoor straight shot, backdoor flush draw. So even if Lucas bets here, I would expect Ludo to never be folding. I'm not really sure if you put out like 160,000 or you just check it back. In Ludo's
Burn picks up a pair of deuces.
I can smell an orange. I'm going to run and grab an orange.
All right, ooh. I mean, from an ICM perspective, guys, and this is one thing that, I mean, I've covered so many of these final tables. Burn just moved all in and took it down. Dude. What a boss. I love this guy. From an ICM perspective, guys, and I've had, like I said, I've had the privilege of doing so many of these final tables. Lucas is like handcuffed because he's got the chip leader on his left, and there's so many short stacks in there. And we're talking about pay jumps that are enormous. We had the pay jumps up before, and they're not. I can't see them right now, but it doesn't make it. I mean, the pay jumps. All these players are guaranteed 13,000.
Who bet that 6 dudes?
Burn shoved and got it through.
What?
He shoved and got it through.
This Burn guy's a madman, dude.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's gone from like the tightest player imaginable to like just like trying to dust off his chips.
Right. But anyway, so I was just saying, I was like, you know, Lucas has got a ton of chips where there's short stacks out there. Lucas could literally just like fold to like 3rd or 4th place.
Yeah.
And so it's a catastrophe. I mean, absolute catastrophe if somehow he gets involved in a huge pot with Ludo and goes broke. So
it's a catastrophe if you sort of do something like Neil did before with the 7-6.
Right, exactly. So, you know, the thing is even more so because of the short stacks out there, and it's like
Right.
That's one of the reasons why, you know, in the final tables when I see guys just putting like the chip leader in a weird way can put more pressure on the guy who's 2nd and 3rd in chips than he can on the short stacks.
Oh, for sure.
Because the short stacks just don't have that much to lose. But the guy who's in 2nd has a ton to lose.
Now, you can put a lot of pressure on them, but you still, I mean, they're still 60 big blinds deep, right? So when he raises ace-jack there, or say he even raises like jack-9 suited and Ludo comes in for a 3x 3-bet on the button, you can still peel and be relatively happy about it with a hand like jack-10 suited because you are still deep. Just because you are 2nd in chips and there's a few short stacks doesn't mean that when you call here with jack-10 suited that, 1, you're not going to make a good hand that you can, you know, play some big pots with, and 2, that he's just going to 3-barrel bluff you every single time.
I agree with you 100%. So we're gonna get a call here from Burndice soon.
I don't think so. This seems a lot more like a spot. I mean, first of all, he's calling off for a stack, which seems to be the problem with Bernd. Bernd doesn't seem to mind wagering.
Ooh, Alexander's got his queen.
I think this is we're probably gonna see a fold here as well. Oh
What?
no! Wow, he's just snapping it in. Okay. Wow. So huge pot for Neil here, and he's gonna be getting in super good. Lucas cannot never call, even if he has pocket 8s. Just absolutely no chance that he can ever call. Even though if he could see the hands, he would be super psyched.
I mean, Alexander should call, right, with ace queen?
I don't think so. He should fold.
Really?
Yeah.
ICM because of that?
Well, it's just like there's also an original razor, and you know Neil is only really shoving like one worse hand. He's only shoving ace jack that's worse, and there's still the original razor to come behind. And ace queen off doesn't even do that well versus pairs and stuff. And you're dominated a bunch of the time. And he is shoving his queens, kings, and aces also. It's a relatively easy fold.
I need Tonka's brain with me while I'm playing. That's what I need.
Tournaments.
Yeah, obviously. Oh wow, terrible turn here for Alexander. He needs a queen. It's not a diamond. 2 outs. That's not gonna be it.
Neil's gonna scoop it.
Neil doubles up to 2.2 million, and we have another casualty. Alexander takes home 13,500 euros. I think it's 13,200 euros.
Yeah. So 13,247 euros. All players remaining are guaranteed 17,730.
That's awesome for him. Good, congratulations. 13,000 for Alexander. I don't know what his history is, but I'm gonna venture a guess to put a pay out for him.
Bernd would have had a set of 6s.
Oh, he would have. You're right. By the way, I didn't realize that. I thought that was just an open shove with the ace king. Yeah, I didn't realize it was a raise and a 3-bet all in.
Oh, open shove, super easy call. Yeah.
That's why I got confused. I was like, why isn't it a call? I don't understand. But then I saw the raise and then the 3-bet shove. I get where you're going at. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with raising with the ace-jack. You know, Ludo 3-bets. Ace-jack's certainly a good enough hand to call with. You're not going to be like, you know, I'm not going to play such scared poker that, oh, I don't want to get involved. But the fact of the matter is, though, I'm just not going to like the flop that often. And I'm out of position against the guy who has more chips than me.
Yep.
So.
But at the same time, like, it depends on the kind of hand.
By the way, Alexander's not eliminated, apparently.
Oh, really? He has 3 big blinds still. Okay.
Yeah, he's got 150 left. I thought he was out. Our chips, obviously, the chip counts were wrong. Burned, by the way, at a solid 805 now. And look at everybody else's stack. Nobody else is below 42 bigs.
It's sellout time, boys. Check it out.